I want to question what the deal was they had with the Labour Party in terms of access and coverage, because we also know that publications like the Daily Mail have been sitting on a story about Sir Keir Starmer for a long time. So you've
Yes.
really got to ask questions about the editor and the relationship with Number 10.
We are at number 30, and let's kick off with the attacks on Nigel Farage. Two physical attacks on the Reform UK leader as he was campaigning during the general election campaign. And this was just days before the assassination attempt on Donald Trump stateside. Alex Phillips, look, you have been by Farage's side during a lot of his early campaigns, because, of course, you were such a big part of UKIP and then the Brexit Party too. What infuriates me is that there's a feeling with Nigel that this is all a joke. You know, the mainstream media and liberal elite almost seem to celebrate this. Do you remember when Joe Brand joked about him having battery acid poured all over him?
Right. He's a rare thing in a politician, which is he's one of the very few that actually likes to go out and meet the people. Most of them will just stand there in a high-vis jacket and a hard hat in some sort of factory with a load of paid up members holding placards behind them. He actually goes and integrates and mingles with the real people and puts himself at great risk doing it. I was with him. I think one of the worst attacks I've ever seen was back in the UKIP days when Hope Not Hate busts a load of people to his local pub in the village where he lived. And I was there, and his children had to run and hide. They were youngsters at the time. But the thing is, you know, the left wing do this, don't they? They demonize, use the most hyperbolic rhetoric about people from the right, that all of a sudden it feels like a moral imperative to verbally lash out or even physically lash out against them. And then before you know it, they're adopting exactly the same words and phrases because they know that's what the people want to hear. You know, it's amazing listening to the Labour Party's change in tone on immigration. Once upon a time, you weren't even able to say, we want to leave the EU without being called a screaming racist. Well, we've done that. Nigel was the one who set the precedent in talking about uncontrolled migratory flows and was called a monster. And now other political parties are adopting it because he was right all along.
Very, very true. And Alex Armstrong, what there is no doubt about is that Nigel Farage is the most under threat politician in the UK. And again,
100%.
This year, we've seen the mainstream media just dismiss that and constantly hector him about why he's not doing face-to-face constituents meetings in Clacton. And it is because he is under physical threat.
Yeah, and it's not just Nigel, actually. Reform MPs in general are having the most attacks of any politicians currently. I mean, we saw the death threat sent to Lee Anderson just come out the other day. The police arrested the guy who'd sent those death threats to Lee, and then they let him off scot-free. When someone sent death threats to Ed Miliband, they've banged him up in prison. So there's clearly two-tier justice throughout the system. Reform are the biggest threat to the establishment, and they'll do anything they can to scare them out of their jobs and to make sure that people know if you're part of that party, then you're not protected by the establishment. Now, poor Nigel has endured more abuse than any politician I can remember in modern history. And look, I know there's been some terrible things happen to politicians, but as Alex Phillips just absolutely nailed it and said, you know, it seems acceptable by the left to laugh and mock Nigel when he comes under threat, when other MPs have the same done to them, well, we're told that that's a completely abhorrent thing. Well, where's the sensibility here? Well, why can't we say that attacking all politicians is a terrible thing? As I've always said, we should never put our MPs under threat. We should never be okay with things being thrown at them. But again, Dan, it's two-tier justice in Britain. You know what it's like.
Of course it is. And we know that politicians on both sides of the spectrum are under threat. And this is real because look at Joe Cox, look at David Ames, God rest both their souls. But I did find it extraordinary that during the campaign for the US presidency this year, it was just forgotten by the mainstream media. They chose to forget it. It was like, oh no, Trump wasn't nearly assassinated. Oh no, there wasn't another attempt on his life. They just moved on. But let's move on in our countdown now to number 29. And I'm going to specifically target the Daily Mail here because over the course of the election campaign, and I think they will come to regret this, they very dishonestly branded Reform UK as far right. I explained the situation on TikTok. But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now one doctor says that's nothing but old news. According to Dr. John Lake, the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. He says they hardly make a dent on your appearance and some can even be harmful to your skin. Recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? So he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. It's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. That's what Lake told reporters. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public, free and uninterrupted, where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. He says if this even helps one person look younger or feel more confident, I'll be thrilled knowing I helped. The video has since gone viral. At first, it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far, the comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One viewer even commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Go to bhmd1.com/outspoken or click on the link in the description box below. So that's bhmd1.com/outspoken. Now, there is one thing Dr. Lake asks from his viewers. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video, bhmd1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the description box below. The link is there. But now, back to the show.
The Daily Mail thinks that you are far right for voting for Nigel Farage and Reform UK. Well, I say, no, you're just right. This is Outspoken, Dan. With less than 2 weeks to go before the UK general election, it's fascinating, actually quite joyful, to see the mainstream media go into an utter meltdown about the fact that there's a party rising up that doesn't represent the establishment and everything that we have come to view as the failure of Westminster. But I'm very shocked by this new strategy by the Mail. I worked there for 2 years. I thought they believed in freedom of choice, and I thought they believed in stopping the illegal flow of migrants into the country and low taxes too. But now they've made this official decision to start describing Nigel and Reform UK as far right. Not only is that dangerous misinformation, as the BBC might call it, I think they're betraying their thousands and thousands of readers.
Now, Apologies for the shirt. But by the way, I was in Florida and it was the middle of summer. But Alex Phillips, I think this will come and boomerang very badly on the Daily Mail. They thought that they could keep playing this trick of deriding Reform UK. It's something, as you know, being head of the media operations for UKIP, that you've seen them done in the past. But I think this time they made a big mistake and they alienated a huge amount of their readers.
Well, yeah, I want to question what the deal was they had with the Labour Party in terms of access and coverage, because we also know that publications like the Daily Mail have been sitting on a story about Sir Keir Starmer for a long time.
Yes.
So you've really got to ask questions about the editor and the relationship with Number 10. But the thing is, 2024 was the year that everything got called far right so much that it doesn't even mean anything anymore. It's ridiculous. When everyone was called far right thugs after the Southport protests, and all of a sudden it hashtagged and trended all over social media. Well, I'm a far right thug. Every single populist party, which is also used as a pejorative term across Europe, i.e. any party that believes in the nation state and controlling borders, is now called far right. And yet what is so alarming is when you actually look at, I read this incredible study done by Rutgers University in America, where they looked at people who had diversity training and then set them various scenarios upon which to comment, that people who have had diversity training, people who have had all of that nonsense sort of, programmed into them, are actually the ones who hold authoritarian beliefs. The far right are the people calling other people the far right. And it's amazing how they still get away with it.
Alex Armstrong, do you agree?
I couldn't agree more. So I was laughing there because it feels so real that I'm sure Alex, you, Dan, everyone's had someone to call them far right in the last couple of years. And I don't think it's something I ever expected to be called my entire life, because when I grew up, and what I was taught in school is far right is akin to Nazism, which is akin to fascism. And that's another word I've heard being thrown around quite a lot the last few years, is fascist. Well, I really, really wish these loon lefties would get a dictionary and look up the definition of fascism, because it's another buzzword we've just completely destroyed. Now, the left proclaim to be these torchbearers of liberty, but actually all they want to do is lock you up and shut you down and censor you. They can't. The funny thing about it all, Dan, as I'm sure your viewers will agree, is they cannot see the irony in their message. They cannot see the fact that they're the ones who are closer to the far right than we are. All we're asking for is to be able to say what we want to say under free speech laws, freedom of expression laws. And yet this year, more than any year in my life, I have been scared to be locked up for my opinions. Who is the far right again, Dan? Who is the far right? Is it the people on this side trying to speak the truth, or is it the people on the left trying to lock us up for speaking the truth?
Well, I know we saw what happened with
pretty
Alison
obvious.
Pearson, didn't we? We saw what happened with Lucy Connolly, the wife of the Conservative councillor. But I just think that the Daily Mail now have really pushed themselves into a corner, because how can they keep on supporting this Conservative Party with what's going on? It's really, really fascinating. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.